Tonight, a family is accusing the Henderson Police Department of killing a 12-year-old boy during a deadly hostage situation 2 years ago in a newly filed lawsuit. Police say the suspect killed 2 others before taking the boy hostage. The boy and the suspect died at the scene. Fox 5's Drew Andre joins us now live from the Henderson apartment complex where this all happened. Drew?
Well, John, the suspect in this case had that boy in a car in the apartment complex. Officers ended up shooting towards that car, and this lawsuit alleges that it was bullets fired by the officers that ended up claiming the life of the 12-year-old.
Swing up a little bit.
Okay. Who's pointing it?
Take the shot if you have it, Pendleton.
These were the moments the morning of November 3rd, 2020. A total of 7 officers fired towards a black Escalade, with the suspect Jason Bourne, with 12-year-old boy Joseph held at gunpoint inside. The police sergeant can be heard saying, "Do not hit the kid," then yelling to stop and cease fire through several more gunshots. The suspect had just shot and killed the boy's mother and housekeeper, and injured his sister, according to police. The new lawsuit filed by the boy's family alleges the foregoing facts required HPD officers to reassess the scene and decelerate the events and create time and distance to obtain the assistance of trained members of SWAT and a hostage negotiator. Instead, just the opposite occurred, resulting in the death of Joseph. The department says officers fired a total of 28 rounds and released a video statement days after the shooting.
Officers then observed a firearm in Bourne's hand, which appeared to be pointing at the juvenile. Officers continued to engage Bourne in an attempt to de-escalate the situation, at which point shots were fired. Officers were unable to rescue the juvenile before he succumbed to the injuries inflicted by Bourne.
But the lawsuit says that according to the 911 transcript, Joseph was alive and screaming after the first officer shot, but he appeared mortally injured after the first volley of shots. The suit claims wrongful death, negligence, and failure to train and supervise. The city of Henderson told Fox 5 it would be premature for the city to publicly discuss the lawsuit at this time. Now, typically after a police shooting, there is a fact-finding review by the district attorney's office. Here we are nearly 2 years later. That still has not happened, and as of now, there's not one scheduled. John?
Drew, thank you. And just today, the Henderson Police Department announced it is revising and modernizing their use of force policy. And that includes requiring officers to use all available de-escalation tactics prior to using physical force and stop physical force as soon as the necessity for it ends.